The GH5 is such a great camera. So instead of upgrading my camera right now, I decided to pair my GH5 with the Atomos Ninja V. I know, I'm late to the Ninja V game. Here's why I went with the GH5 and the Atomos Ninja V. If you're new to this channel, my name is Caleb and I've been doing freelance video production since 2012. But this channel is to help you make your own videos, whether you just started or you've been making them for a while, whether you use the GH5 or any other camera. If that's something you're interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe button. In one of my past videos, I talked about my run and gun GH5 setup. And one of the things I said in that video is for that shoot, I would have liked to have something like the Atomos Ninja V. So I just decided to go ahead and buy one. With some amazing cameras being announced this summer, like the Canon R5 and the Sony a7S III, it's very tempting to jump the GH5 ship, especially with the micro four thirds sensor in question and things like 4K 120 and amazing autofocus that would be on the Sony a7S III. But I consistently get great results with the GH5, and pairing it with the Atomos Ninja V, it's basically like a new camera anyway. And like I said, I know that I'm late to the game with the Atomos Ninja V, but here's why I went with the Atomos Ninja V and the GH5. Now, I know a lot of you have been using the Atomos Ninja V, and I want to hear what you like or don't like about the Ninja V. Let's get that discussion started down in the comments. Now, the first reason I went with the Atomos Ninja V is that it's just a great monitor to start with a ton of features, but then you have the recording possibilities over HDMI with the GH5. I'm not actually recording on this right now though. Now, this is not a review of the Ninja V at all, but some of the great features that you have on here is false color, which I use all the time. You have focus peaking, which I have on all the time. And then some of your waveforms, as well as like aspect ratio guides. It has a backlit screen, which is awesome for outdoor shooting. And in that video, I talked about one of the issues I had was outdoor shooting on the golf course. So having something like this would have come in real handy. The second reason I went with the Atomos Ninja V is ProRES recording from the GH5. So with the Atomos Ninja V, you have ProRES and DNX options to record straight onto an SSD drive. Now, I tell people a lot that the GH5 is just a couple features away from being a cinema type camera, and ProRES recording is one of those features that it lacks. But paired with the GH5, you're able to record in ProRES HQ, ProRES 422, or ProRES Lite. With my initial test that I've done, I think ProRES Lite is probably gonna be my go-to profile because it's still super versatile and I'm gonna save a ton of space on the 1 terabyte hard drive. Now, the ProRES files are huge, but when editing on a 16-inch MacBook Pro, the playback is smooth, seamless, and you just have so much control over that file. And that brings me to my third point, is recording at 4K 60 10-bit 422. Now, it's no 4K 120, but seriously, it's 4K 60 10-bit 422. You're gonna have so much control over the colors of that slow motion footage. Now, I say this all the time that I overuse 120 frames per second, but I do shoot a lot in 4K 60, and I am used to shooting in those settings, but that's straight from the GH5, which is 8-bit 420. If you wanna check out a 4K 60 short film that I put together of our family hike, it's right up here. Having 10-bit 422 at 4K 60 is going to be great moving forward. Maybe the GH5 with the Atomos Ninja V is the best camera deal of 2020. All right, here's a look at everything that you're gonna get in the box. In case you're curious, you don't have one, but you're looking to get one. So when you flip the box over, it's gonna list the contents and it's gonna list a bunch of the different features. And so when you open it up, the very first thing that you're gonna see is the Ninja V. Then a couple of the other things that are gonna be in there are you're gonna have the manual, and it comes with a caddy for the SSD if you don't go with the Angel Bird, which I personally went with the Samsung 860 EVO. It's a terabyte card. And also in the box, you're gonna have the power adapter so that you don't have to rely on batteries. Let's say you're shooting an event, something that you know you're just gonna fly through batteries. And with the power adapter, you're gonna have the different style plugins for depending on where you're at. In Europe or the States, you're gonna have those options. Then I also went with the overpriced Atomos HDMI cord, which runs about 60 bucks, but I know that I'm gonna be able to transfer that 4K 60 over this cord. And I'll just say with the Samsung card, you're gonna save a couple $100 too. And from what I've seen, this SSD performs very well. Don't forget to comment your thoughts on the Atomos Ninja V. Do you use it? What do you like? What do you don't like? I'm looking forward to that conversation. And speaking of conversations, I haven't done this for a while. Let's read some comments from my previous video. I talked about whether it's time to leave the GH5 with the new Canon R5 and the Sony a7S III being released. And man, there's some good comments. If you want your comment read at some point, make sure you comment. Before we read though, let's get a little bit more comfortable. All right, as always, if I say your name and butcher your name, I'm so sorry, but thank you so much for commenting. All right, so these comments are from my video talking about whether it's time to move on from the GH5 with the Canon R5 and the Sony a7S III being released. And the first comment comes from Joshua Mack, and he just says, it's time. All right, the next comment comes from Zentaro Spective, and he says, that ending, L-O-O-O-O-L. He must have gotten a good laugh out of that, and if you haven't seen the ending, make sure you go check that out. He goes on, he says, I'm very interested in an upgrade from the GH5, and the Sony a7S III is a worthy contender. However, I'm waiting on the GH6 first. I love Panasonic and their camera systems. The GH5 is such an incredible camera. Whatever Panasonic produces to follow it up has to be a game changer even after the a7S III. Totally agree with you. All right, the next comment comes from Awesome Thrilling. Simply says, I think we should wait for the GH6. Panasonic, what are you going to do? Are you going to bring a GH6? All right, the next comment comes from Mark Vasquez. And Mark says, I subbed because I fell in love with the GH5 after ordering it with the Metabones filter. But I just kept thinking about the a7S III and just ordered that instead. Don't want buyer's remorse. Well, Mark, first of all, I appreciate the sub. Second of all, you got to do what's right for you, man. If you feel like the a7S III is going to be the better tool for you, then you got to go with it. All right, the next comment comes from Tharindu Vishwanath. I'm so sorry if I butchered your name. Great name, by the way. And he says, this video couldn't come in a better time. I was thinking about getting the a7S III and decided it's an overkill for my YouTube stuff. Now deciding between the GH5 and the a7 III. That is a great point. The a7S III might be overkill for YouTube. I don't know. I really see the a7S III thriving in that semi-pro freelance area. All right, and the last comment is going to come from Two-Track Mind. Really enjoying the videos, the dedication shows. Just got the GH5 a couple months ago to jumpstart my own channel. Learning lots from your content. Well, Two-Track Mind, I appreciate that. I'm glad you're finding value in these videos, and all the best with your channel. That's always fun reading those comments. If you have time, make sure you stick around and watch one of the videos that's popping up on your screen right now. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.